Hello everyone, welcome to and welcome back to my channel Book Time with Elvis with me, Mark, and also with Elvis, if you can see him. See, he's running away from the camera, as per usual. What are you doing? Yeah, oh, hello. You're coming on the camera today. Oh, that's nice. Say hello everyone. Oh, hello. Hello everybody. Ah, he's getting a taste for it maybe. You're getting a taste for it. So yes, welcome, and I have a video for you today, and it's not a tag video, although it's Tuesday and it's been a long time since I've done a tag. I'm quite behind with them. Instead, I thought I would talk to you about reading technology, or technology, bookish technology, or technology that allows me to consume reading material, to consume books in a variety of different forms. Now, I'm not going to get into the debate of what's better, physical books or e-readers, because of course each has its own merits and also its own disadvantages. I find the convenience of e-readers fantastic, especially when I first moved from England to the Czech Republic. I didn't want to cart around a load of books. It was amazing to just carry those books on a tablet or on an e-reader. So yeah, I mean, I love having a book in my hand, but sometimes the size of the book can be a problem. I'm getting old and weak, and for example, trying to hold up, Les Miserables in bed and getting crushed under the weight, that'd be terrible, wouldn't it? If nobody saw me for a couple of weeks, and there was a strong smell emanating from my apartment, and there I was, crushed under the weight of Les Miserables, half eaten by somebody because he probably got a bit hungry. I wouldn't mind that though. If the guy's got to eat, hasn't he? You would, wouldn't you? Probably would. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It might be quite tasty, but don't be looking at me like you're hungry. Okay, so as I said, I'm not really going to get into that debate. There's quite a lot on that already, and I don't really think I've got anything new to add to it. But I just thought I'd go through my own technology. You may not be interested in it, but I'm hoping, of course, that you are. So my first foray into the realm of the e-reader was actually this old Kindle here, which you can see with the keypad on it. And it's still, got this display on it. However, you can see at the top, there was a problem, and I was so annoyed because I'd looked after it for many years. And what happened was I had a case that I wasn't too happy with, and I took it out of the case. And I think, if I remember rightly, I put it in my pocket. And then I went to the cafe, forgot it was in my pocket, and I sat down. And unfortunately, my big fat bottom, was wider than the arms of the chair. And the arm of the chair just pushed up against it and caused it to spoil. So it doesn't display. I don't know if you can see that. It doesn't display properly. Sorry about the glare. Doesn't display properly at the top. I'm sure if I plugged it in, it would probably still work. But that's a shame, because I really looked after it for a while. So after that, I got the first of my Kindle Fire tablets, which unfortunately I don't remember the model names. You can see here the cover's a bit worse for wear. It's been very well used. But it was a good device, and I still use it from time to time because there are some... Oh, look at that glare, eh? There's some material on there, and books and things that I haven't copied over because not everything I have originally came from Amazon. There were EPUBs at the time which you couldn't use, and PDFs and things like that. So this was very handy, and it was quite handy as a tablet. I could watch Netflix on it, and I could play games on it, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you can see it's very worse for wear. But it still works, and I still use it. However, I don't know if I upgraded it or downgraded it. Again, I'm not sure of the model numbers. If you do know, then let me know. I probably could find out somehow, I suppose. But I got another Fire tablet. This one here. Oh, look at that. Look at that glare from the screen. You can see me almost perfectly clear, like a mirror. Amazing. And again, the same thing. And again, it actually has a host of other things on it. I was very cheeky once with it because I had a free trial to Kindle Unlimited, and I realized if I turned off my Wi-Fi, I could keep the books for a while, even though my trial had expired, but I hadn't finished reading them. The case is much better condition, actually. And so I did that. And actually, it does have quite a lot of, for example, Delphi complete collections, classic collections of different authors on it, which I bought directly either from them rather than Amazon. So again, it wasn't necessarily easy to load them. I could have side-loaded them, I suppose, through onto the Kindle, but I didn't. I just used this, and I used a different app, which I'll talk about in a minute, some of the apps I use. But yeah, it's a good device, still works. And, I do rotate them. I do from time to time, pick up this old thing, this one. Probably my favorite of the Kindle Amazon manufactured devices is this one here, which I think is similar to what a lot of people are showing now, but this is, I think, a bit older. It's probably from 2020 maybe, and it's just one of these things here, and it is just so comfortable and easy to use, and you can see I've got a better case on it, much harder one to kind of protect that screen in case I sit on it, but I hope I've learned my lesson. And yeah, this is the device I use probably the most when it comes to reading my books from my Amazon or Kindle library. Now again, as I said, I have quite a few books that are not from there, and I had an Android tablet that I got a couple of years ago here, which is a Lenovo tablet. Again, beautiful reflection. Hello, Mark. And this is really nice. You may have seen it on Steve Donahue's channel, because I think he saw it on mine and quite liked the look of it. So he got one because it's great for lying in bed and reading, because it has this almost handle on it, if you can see. So you hold it, you can just hold it like that, and it's got this, the grip is really nice. It's also got an inbuilt stand, so you can, you can actually hang it up somewhere if you want as well, and you can use it as a, photo frame, electrical photo frame, what do they call them? Digital photo frame or something like that. But again, it's got all the apps on it that I like to use for reading. It's particularly good if I want to read or flip through a magazine or some kind of document. So yeah, I really enjoy that one and use it probably the most of my tablets, or even maybe more than, I don't really use a laptop at home anymore. I would use this instead. So yeah, that's good. And then I also have an iPad as well, which again I use, and it's really good for reading magazines and things like that. I have a couple of subscriptions, and just the display is so clear, crystal clear. It works wonderfully well with the magazines with all their colors and illustrations and things like that. And also it is, it serves the purpose that if I'm lying in bed, I can watch something on it if I want to as well. Sometimes it can be a bit annoying to kind of lie in bed and try to read with it. I'm always worried I'm going to drop it. In fact, the other day, bizarrely, I did develop kind of a pain in my thumb, and I wondered if it was like a repetitive strain injury from trying to read in bed. But also their book app is pretty useful. It has some free things on there, so you don't have to worry about trying to get them, from Project Gutenberg or elsewhere. But I find that really good. And needless to say, I also use my mobile and the Kindle application on the mobile for reading. And I do love the fact how the Kindles and the Kindle apps do, of course, synchronize. So, if this is in my bag, but I'm standing at the bus stop, I can just pick up my place in the book using that. And that's, I think, fantastic. Now, I also have an application on Microsoft here on my computer, which I'm using at the moment, called Frida, appropriately enough. I am sure Steve Donahue might appreciate that. And that's when you see me doing my read alouds, that's what I'm using, because I can have half the screen with the camera and half the screen with the material that I'm reading. Of course, it looks like that probably looks like I'm reading, but it's better than me, like, trying to read off this when I can just kind of look up at the screen and read as well. Now, as I mentioned, it isn't just reading, although some people will disagree, and I'm not going to get into that argument either. It is the consumption of books in different forms, and one form, of course, is when you listen to audiobooks, and that's something I've gotten into recently. I will use my phone for that. I use the Audible application and my, earbuds or whatever that go with my phone, just these little things that, pull out and stick in your ear without the wireless things. And they're very handy, and it's nice, especially as I commute on the bus for about 25, 30 minutes per day. I can get that done, and kind of blocks out the noise of, the noisy kids on the bus. Now, I mentioned a couple of applications, the free reader that I use on my computer. I also use, of course, the Kindle application across non-Kindle devices, and I use something called Read Era, and this is a good one for reading ebook files that can't be read on the Kindle. I suppose now Kindle does take the EPUBs, so it is a bit easier. However, I noticed some of the older EPUBs don't work. They end up with these kind of funny symbols instead of commas or speech marks, that kind of quotation marks, and that kind of thing. I did go for the premium option of that. It wasn't very expensive. I think it was maybe $1, $2, but it was worth it because you can sync to your Google Drive or something like that as well. So again, I can sync between my Lenovo and my phone and stuff, and keeps everything backed up. It's much easier as well if if you get an email copy of a book, it's much easier to just read it through the Read Era application. Then have to faff about emailing it off to your Kindle again and then taking the chance it might not work. Also, I use something called Moon Plus Reader as well, because again, I mentioned these Delphi classics that I like, these complete works of the author, and for some reason, I don't know why, on the Read Era application, it really takes a long time for them to open because they're quite big. So on the Moon Plus Reader, it's much faster. So again, I use that. So it all kind of depends on what I am, trying to read at that time. And I'll just mention a couple of the services I use, I suppose. I mean, I'm a big fan of using Project Gutenberg to get reading material from, which of course is free. There are applications both with Android and iPad where you can get free books. You can get free books from the Kindle store as well. But then I also started using, from this year, I've started using Kindle Unlimited, which I'm very pleased with. I got, I think, a 6 month, was it 6 months or 4 months? I don't remember. Set price. So it meant I paid something like £20 for the 6 months instead of paying, I think it's £7.99 per month. And I have mixed feelings about Kindle Unlimited because I feel that if you're a mood reader and you want to read something, now while they have fairly wide selection, they might not have exactly what you want that you can read for free. So I think it's one of those things where it's better to just take it in chunks. So when you see there's a few things you want there, it would be worth it to get it for a month, read the things you want to read that you've come across on there, and then maybe stop it. However, they have got some very good inclusive magazine subscriptions. So both BBC History magazines are available on there. National Geographic is available on there, all within that price. So I think that's pretty good. And then I do have another subscription for the Times Literary Supplement, which unfortunately I did through the Times Literary Supplement website rather than through the Kindle, because it's much easier to activate and cancel these subscriptions if you use the Amazon service for this. Otherwise, I have to contact them directly, give them like 2 weeks or something like that. And the problem I've got with the TLS is, while it's fascinating and it's really well written, is that I find it's coming out every week, of course, and it comes out faster than I can read them. So I'm going to have to think whether or not it's worth continuing with that, although I do really, really like it. And the other thing I mentioned is Audible, which I started this month, and I've gone for the premium because, again, after Christmas, when they have all these deals, I got a good price on that, and that's very impressive. I quite enjoy now, because some days I finish teaching later and don't fancy reading. So like when I finish after 8 p.m., I haven't really got the energy to read, or the eye energy to read, so it's nice to listen. And for that, I primarily use, as I say, my phone and my earphones. But also, what's excellent, again, it all syncs with your devices. So I could use any of these tablets, I suppose. I do use, if you can see my Alexa, whatever it is, Echo Show in the background there. I can just ask her to play the audiobook, and I can listen to that. And then I have a smaller Echo Dot in the bedroom as well, which I use a lot for listening to these audiobooks now as well. So there we go. That's kind of my book consumption technology. It was quite a long video, longer than I expected. I hope it wasn't too dull, and I'm very interested to know if you've embraced technology at all, and why not if you haven't. But as I said, I'm not really getting into the arguments, the pluses and minuses of what's better, e-books or physical books, because, as I say, I think to each their own, and everything has their own merit. And also, I'm not getting into the debate of, is listening to an listening to an audiobook reading. I can't help myself. Personally, I think it's not, of course, reading, because you're not reading, you are listening. But I do support it, for example, being, ticked off your Goodreads as having been read, because you have in some way consumed that book. So to me, it would be kind of pointless to read it after you've listened to it. So if there's, for want of a better word, then I think you can get away with reading, or as long as of course, it isn't in terms of actually physically reading. But I have no problem with people saying that. So there we go. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day, and we shall see you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.